I get those goosebumps every time. I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you
Greetings technicians, this is Admin Crow here, your coach of the Toronto Star Raptors, bringing you the battle in another week of the PCL. This is week 4, I believe, and we are taking on Brandon, aka the coach of the Pixilated Outrages. And today we do have a special guest with us. Is Pallukie. You can say hi.
This is Pallukie, your coach of the Vielfray Venusaur.
So yeah, in this battle, or I guess in this video, I'm just gonna be going over the battle itself and my turn-to-turn thought process. And if you guys want to check out my team builder and where I cover all the stats that I brought and my game plan going in, I will leave that in the link down in the description below. So yeah, that's just let's just hop right into the battle. So over here at team preview, I see right away that he didn't bring whatchamacallit. Well, actually, what I should say is he did bring his Lichen Rock Day, which is such a force to be reckoned with when it comes down to matchup against my team. And he also gets that Excel Rock for my Volcarona, so that's no surprise. And he does have the Venusaur, Mega Venusaur as well. It gave me so much headache when I was prepping against it. So yeah, that's actually something I want to talk to you about, Pallukie. If you look at my set, right? I actually have a acrobatic Gligar to be able to switch into Mega Venusaur.
That was a really cool play.
Yeah. I kind of got a little bit. Let's not spoil the match actually. but
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And I also brought a assault vest, whatchamacallit, Meloetta, to take on the potential Tail Glow Menifee, which is also a very good offensive threat against my team. It also takes hits from Volcarona. I can take a +3 Scald from Fall. It's actually, I have a chance to not get 2-hit KO'd with my spread, and I ran a lot of speed on my Meloetta to be able to outrun. I believe the benchmark I set was for either Galvantula or Lichen Rock Day. Anyways, I'm just gonna hop into the battle without further ado. So I believe. Sorry, go ahead.
A little commentary on this, because I don't know if you know, I think I mentioned this in the Discord server not too long ago, but every week I look at the matchups and I try to build for each team just for fun. And the way I built against you was like an Ice Punch Jirachi. It was Focus Sash Lichen Rock, so he had 2 chances to get off Excel Rock on Volcarona in case there was a sub. Yeah,
exactly. That's actually the only set that I ran into when I was mocking with Lo-Fi. He always had a Focus Sash, so I was trying to get up hazard against him, but it never worked very well. So
I was assuming like a physically bulky Togekiss for Absol, but other than that, like I didn't know. I had no idea he was gonna bring Hydreigon.
Oh, him?
Like he brought Hydreigon against Lovecraft, despite I think a glaring weakness, and used it extremely well. He did the same thing here. So
yeah, exactly. I had Hydreigon last season. I brought it. I believe it was White Lotus. He had Double Fairy on his team, and we had 2 games. And despite him having Double Fairy, I brought Hydreigon 2 games in a row. So. Anyways, let's just hop into the battle. I do have some interesting sets I'm gonna go over once the battle starts. So, music off. So I do lead with my Mega Absol here right away, simply because it covers the Jirachi lead. If he's a U-turn variant with Scarf, I will have to scout out for that. But the main reason is to prevent him from setting up rocks in case he's defensive, just because my potential of Magic Bounce, which I do see right here. And this also covers the Hydreigon lead. Obviously, it's the same idea. He can just go for a U-turn on my Mega Absol, but I always have to scout the potential Scarf on either the Jirachi or the Hydreigon, as those two being his most likely choice Scarfer if he does bring it. So over here on turn 2, I'm just gonna go into my keys and scout out for a potential Scarf. As he goes for a U-turn on his Jirachi, he got a crit on my keys, but I guess it doesn't really matter. It did 7%. Yeah, watch it totally end up mattering in the end. So from this point, from the way he played, I think the Jirachi is scarfed at this point, as he does go into his Mega Venusaur. So for Mega Venusaur, it's so interesting. The way he goes into it, he's telling me he either has Earthquake or Hidden Power Fire. Or,
assumed Hidden Power Fire.
Yeah, exactly.
When I saw it come in, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the reason I don't think it's Hidden Power Fire, I actually think it's more of an Earthquake variant, simply because Earth Spam, I guess Ground Spam is so good against my team. Or else Nihilego comes in for free on Mega Venusaur as well if he doesn't have the Earthquake. It covers the keys and just everything else I want to switch into it. That's basically the set I prepped against the most. I don't actually think he has knockoff, but I do have that acrobatic on the Gligar in case he does have the knockoff. So over here on the same turn, I do set up a reflect first, expecting him to go for Earthquake or knockoff. As he does bust out the knockoff and just be able to get rid of my Light Clay, that is okay. I do go into my Gligar on the same turn, as knowing that he probably won't go for another knockoff, and I can take any hits from the Mega Venusaur, as he switched out into his Togekiss on my keys. So we both
It's
switch
important
out.
to note.
Sorry,
it is
go ahead.
important to note. It's important to note too. Sorry to cut you off, but I'm just
No,
running
it's fine.
calcs in the background here because I know you were on your phone in this match and couldn't run calcs.
Yeah, exactly.
The Venusaur's knockoff, there was some attack investment because with your set, knockoff only should have done 8 and it did 13.
Oh, interesting. So he might have
No,
Earthquake. I don't know his entire set in the end.
So actually, that only did. What did that do? Okay, it did about.
It did 6 though.
It's, yeah. So actually,
But
he's
it
probably
did 6
he's
through
probably
reflect,
special.
so it would have done 12.
So he's a little bit physical.
Yeah, so that's good to know. So not only he's now minus physical attack nature, he also has physical attack investment. So yeah, one thing I didn't mention. So this battle, both me and Brendan has to rush it a bit. We actually had it earlier in the week because some personal reasons on me and Brendan's side. So anyway, so regardless, we will be able to put up a pretty good show in my opinion. So let's just proceed with the commentary. As he does go into his Togekiss right here on my Gligar, the Wintel Jr. I actually wanted to scout out what type of Togekiss this is, so I just stay in and go for a Stealth Rock. The main reason is because Togekiss's speed tier is very similar to Gligar, so he could easily have some speed investment to be able to outspeed the Gligar. In one of my mocks, I actually lost my Gligar to 5 air slashes because the Togekiss speed crept me. So I guess that's a thing.
And that air slash is standard for like no special attack investment. So I think it's very likely that this was a bold, bulky Togekiss.
Yeah, which makes sense for my, like you said, for my Mega Absol. I thought about putting Thunderbolt again on my Mega Absol specifically for the Togekiss, and I end up not go that route. For the details, you guys can see my team builder again. So on the following turn, I'm actually just going to hard switch into my Volcarona, simply because I know that there's no way he goes for a Thunder Wave right here on my ground type, and it's pretty much a free switch into my Volcarona, because I know with my investment I take the Air Slash very well. As you guys can see, he actually went for Defog on the same turn to be able to not only get rid of my screens but also the rocks, which is what I predicted initially. So on the following turn, on turn 6 here, I made a very bold play, knowing that there's no way he will go for a T-Wave if he's packing it. risking me potentially going for a stub. That's why I actually went for a quiver dance first. Otherwise, it would be a very questionable play in my opinion. As you can see, you just go for a straight up air slash that actually only did 27% because I'm a calm nature with a lot of special defense investment. I'm actually pretty proud of how I played out this scenario of being able to set up both a QD and a sub against his team, despite the fact that Togekiss have a super effective move on for my Volcarona. So I do go for a sub as he hard switch out into his Lichen Rock Day, which is definitely a very good play on Brandon's part. He has to make a play like that to prevent the sweep, I guess, at this point. So I'm just gonna fire off a big Bug Buzz to bring down the Lichen Rock Day to its stash. Sorry, you were gonna say something?
Thing I do want to note here that I found super interesting was this was a point in the match where Brendan probably realized that he can bring in Venusaur against this thing a little bit because leftovers and not Fire EMZ.
Exactly.
Which I was waiting for Fire EMZ and then I saw these lefties and I thought, ooh.
So
I think it was smart on your part to do that because you want to have some recovery, but you also know you're going to be forced out by this Lichen Rock Day until it's gone. So it's a toss up. But I thought it was interesting because I think he does have Venusaur in here later against you. We can touch on that later.
Yeah, we'll see a little bit. So fun fact, I actually made crazy enough. I actually made Volcarona to be able to set up on Venusaur, as crazy as it sounds. With my investment, Sludge Bomb actually don't break my sub, which is very crazy, even without a Quiver Dance.
Yeah,
because I'm not running a physically bulky Volcarona simply because no matter what, this Lichen Rock Days will be able to check me, even if he doesn't have a stash. So, not to mention he can very well have the stash to be able to check me twice. So that's why I decided to go with especially bulky to be able to take hits from Venusaur. If he doesn't have a physical investment, Earthquake has a very good chance to break my sub, but he needs to, like, when do you ever go for Earthquake first when it's Venusaur versus Volcarona's matchup wise, right? You're always gonna want to go for that Sludge Bomb to break my sub. Well, I guess
because it sounds like if you thought he wasn't bringing Hydreigon, you could have just not run Bug Buzz and run Psychic.
Yeah, actually, fun fact, I actually wasn't going to run Psychic at all because I know Brandon had Volcarona last season and he's such a good player. He will probably expect me to have Psychic. That's why I didn't go that route. In all of my mocks, I had Hurricane over Psychic. I think Brandon it was fire flying coverage. Sorry, go ahead.
I thought Lovecraft did Volcarona.
Last season, Brandon also had it in Origin. Lovecraft had it in Generations.
Okay, yeah, my bad. I forgot that there were 2 leagues.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Yeah, and the other reason for Hurricane was because he also had Menifee, right? So in case he wants to bring rain, he's gonna be in for a little bit, a little surprise. But yeah, I decided to not to go with that route because Bug Buzz just hits everything neutrally anyways. So, anyways, I do go into my Gligar to take the second Excel Rock, as he pretty much has to go for it in case I want to stay in with my Volcarona. He can really risk that. So I believe I do set up my rocks once again as he preserve. Oh, I actually went for a U-turn. Why did I do that? Oh yeah, my idea was because if he wants to just stack his Lichen Rock Day right there, not only I knock it out, but it also covers his switch in case he wants to preserve his Lichen Rock. Because I can very well go for rocks right there and just be able to knock out the Lichen Rock Day upon entry. So that's why I went for the U-turn. So as you can see, like I mentioned before, I do I do go into my Volcarona right here on his Venusaur. Sorry, go ahead.
That at this point, so he switches in Venusaur on Gligar.
Yeah, to preserve his Lichen Rock.
Right, exactly. Preserve Lichen Rock for Volcarona. I thought it was really smart that you switched into Volcarona off the U-turn, because it did two things. One, it forced him to either sack something so he can bring in Lycanroc, which he doesn't want to do with Venusaur, or win this 1v1.
Yeah, exactly.
And it also made him probably think
I have Psychic.
EV'd to live something like an Earthquake, or you have Psychic, which or Hurricane. He might have thought you had Hurricane. Like, there's a lot of options that you could have run to whittle down this Venusaur.
To be fair, there's no way he expects Hurricane. He probably expects Psychic more than Hurricane because it's more reliable. Yeah.
Hurricane is stronger, and also
75% accuracy. Hello.
Joey's running it, but people do run it. I mean, the point is, when you bring a Venusaur on the field, the first thing you think is, does this thing have any flying or psychic coverage?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
that's my only weakness.
Yeah.
You know, so he's gonna be thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I also want to scout out what type of Venusaur set this is. The only move I know, I believe, is knockoff. If that's one less move slot he can run for Earthquake, because if he's gonna have knockoff, I assume he's gonna have Synthesis and Dual Stab. So that means he doesn't have a physical move to break my sub with. So that was my idea there. And if he does have Earthquake, then he probably don't have Synthesis, which is even better for me. There's no way.
And that knockoff.
Yeah, I mean, he could have Leech Seed over Synthesis. So, but then again, there's no way he goes for Leech Seed right here, risking a sub. So
I know you had 28 defense EVs on Volcarona. Was that calc specifically to live a knockoff from? Do you remember why that calc was what it was?
No,
or was it just
I only put it in defense because I have nowhere else to put my EVs. It helps me with the roll with Earthquake a bit, but knockoff does less damage than Earthquake. I didn't expect him to have knockoff in the first place, so it just works in my favor because knockoff does less damage. So
that's good. Okay, so
and
you know
the
he's
fact
like,
that
you're not gonna click.
Yeah, I'm just gonna play this turn because it didn't. Yeah, like I mentioned before, I went for the sub on the turn that he goes for knockoff. It didn't break my sub. I think it was probably in his favor to break the sub, to be honest. Now we know that he has some physical attack investment. But then again, if he doesn't, it doesn't really make sense for him to have physical attack investment just for knockoff. So it's kind of interesting there.
Oh, the most oh wow, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he could be just like not minus attack nature, so
he could be, just not minus
either
attack.
Either way, I had a chance to have my sub not broken by knockoff or EQ anyways.
Oh, yeah, like, so if he had like 88, because like usually standard Venusaur has 88 in defense, like if he had 88 in attack instead, knockoff is doing 24 to 28 to your Volcarona set.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he had a lot of attack investment, because I think 88 is a lot for Venusaur.
Yeah.
Because it wants to be bulky. You're still living that. I'm surprised he clicked knockoff. I guess what I'm trying to say is he must have thought knockoff was a decent play.
Yeah, to be able to break my sub, yeah.
28 defense, knockoff almost guarantees. It's 24.9 to 29.4 if he had like that exact attack investment. Yeah. So I honestly think your attack investment.
And if it's not, you mean my defense investment?
I think your defense investment, depending on his attack investment, because he clicked knockoff, I think it mattered. Because I think he thought, I can break this up anyway.
It helped me with the roll a little bit. But then again, it's in his favor to break my sub with EQ. But I don't know about knockoff, since it's slightly weaker. Anyways, on the following turn, I'm just going to speed this up a little bit because I don't want this video to drag on for too long.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
You know how long I take calking, so.
Yeah, because this is a post-con, it's not a live-con. I'm just gonna go through all the turn by turn, and then maybe we can talk a little bit in the end. So on the following turn, he does switch into his Mudsdale on my Volcarona. So this is actually very interesting because I can very well have the Giga Drain. I do believe that I haven't shown the fire move at this point, or any attacks. Have I shown? I've shown Bug Buzz at this point. I haven't shown the fire move at all. So I can very well have Giga Drain for this Mudsdale. So this leads me to believe that he's more of a specially defensive variant or a Assault Vest variant to be able to handle my Volcarona and just be able to break myself with either an EQ or a Rock Slide. So that was my initial idea. That's why I went for the Quiver Dance. So over here, as you can see, he actually, oh no, on the following turn I do outspeed and finally reveal my fire move. That did only roughly 40% with +1, so I know that this thing is definitely, if it definitely fully specially defensive because he busts out the roar. There's no way that he's gonna be AV. So that's a really smart bring on Brandon's side for sure. Especially I actually never I never expected him to bring Mudsdale. I actually expected him to not bring Mudsdale, so I didn't prep for Mudsdale.
Right. Yeah.
Initially, I had, because I have Serp and Azu, right? So, and even with Volcarona, I can easily have Giga Drain for it. So, but I can see why he has it. He has it for Nihilego. I guess that would be the only thing. How he's especially defensive. And
I think he knows he does well against Nihilego and to an extent Volcarona here. I think he forces you out and he can set rocks if he wanted that play, but he did a different play obviously.
Yeah.
The roar stuff was good, but I think based on his team, you would not bring Serp or Azu.
Yeah, I can agree. I can definitely agree with that. I was talking with
Lo-Fi. Because Venu does so well.
Yeah, Serp doesn't do very well against his team with that Togekiss and Mega Venusaur, which being one of the better, I guess, grass types that can take a boosted Hidden Power Fire. So definitely Serp was. I'm actually afraid of him bringing Web Galvantula, expecting me to not bring Serp. Because Galvantula offensively is pretty good against my team. Yeah. Anyways, so really good prep on Brandon's side for sure. Packing that roar, just be able to prevent me from any sort of setup. So as I get roar out into my Mega Absol, I can't really stay and afford to take either a Heavy Slam or a EQ. I do go into my Gligar right here, and as he goes for the EQ, I'll just be able to get out my rocks and take any hit from this Mudsdale, as I know that I'll be able to whittle it down and roost off on it every single time. He's just gonna go into his Togekiss after seeing that Heavy Slam did absolutely zero, and because the fact that I know I outspeed his Togekiss with my Gligar, I know that I will always win the Hazard War. That's why I stayed in with my Gligar after going for a roost and just set up my rocks once again. And there's no way for him to flinch me with air slashes because the fact that I am faster. So on the following turn, I'm just gonna U-turn out into my Nihilego as he goes for Defog to get rid of his rocks, my rocks once again. Simply because I don't really want to play this game. I want to be able to put on offensive pressure. That's what my team is all about. So I'm actually bluffing the Scarf right here. That's why I went for the. I was debating between going for a Power Gem and Foul Play. Simply because I know that he's probably going to his Jirachi to take the hit, as he doesn't really have a rock switch in aside from, I guess, Mudsdale. But with the amount the Mudsdale was at, he doesn't want to take a Power Gem or into a potential Psychic. I know I do get a Grass Knot for the Mudsdale, but you know, it's not a move that it's very conventional in the long run. But Psychic is definitely something he can expect me packing for that Mega Venusaur. So I can. That's why I made a Foul Play over here against Jirachi. And as you can see, he's actually Cobra Berry, which is basically the exact same set that I practiced against in my mock. Mainly because, first of all, this gives me two information. One, he had a Cobra Berry for my Mega Absol back in turn 1. That's why he made the U-turn play. So he wasn't Choice Scarf. He was going for a slow U-turn and just be able to get momentum and damage off my Mega Absol. And this by going for Foul Play, I also find out what type of Jirachi he is. So so on the following turn, I'm just gonna go into my keys, as he usually was Jirachi unless he's packing Fire Punch, and I also didn't want him to set up rocks, which is what he went for over here on turn 21. And I managed to get rid of them on the following turn by just going for a Defog. As he go for a Wish, so I actually stayed in and go for a Reflect, even though I know that this Jirachi can't really do too much back to him, too much back to me. I just want to stay in and be able to scout out what type of Jirachi this is. So at this point, I already know all 4 of its moveset, Wish, Stealth Rock, no, all 3 of them, Wish, Stealth Rock, U-turn, and I assume the last move will be a move that at least can touch, either my Nihilego or my Volcarona. So it could be a psychic move or a steel type move. It can't possibly be Fire Punch, which is, I guess, the only thing Jirachi can really do back to Klefki. So on the following turn, I'm just gonna be able to get rid of his rocks again as he finally revealed his last move, which is the Iron Head. So knowing that he doesn't have like Thunder Wave or something, so I know that I can always set up always go hard into Volcarona here and be able to get a sub off on this Jirachi, which is what I do go for right here. As he get up his rocks, I also made this play in case he wants to go for rocks, so I can get my Volcarona in before rocks. So he's going to be able to go into his Mudsdale again as I set up a sub and be able to go for a Bug Buzz with my Volcarona. So over here, he actually busts out the rest. This is like the turning point of the entire game. I was like, okay, I finally put him in range of any of my attacks. That's why I gone for a Bug Buzz before, instead of going for a Quiver Dance or anything, right? Because I know that he has Roar, and I was just trying to whittle this Mudsdale down to a point any of my mods can finish it up. And yeah, he bust out the Resto Chesto. So this is kind of awkward. Because my coverage on this Volcarona, I can't really do anything back to him, and I know that he's just gonna be able to roar me out. So that's why I go for a Bug Buzz to get some damage off on this Mudsdale. And unfortunately, I get to roar into my Mega Absol once again. I think it's the second time I get roar into it. I'm just gonna go hard into my keys. Okay, this is I think it's my most crucial mistake of the entire game. I don't know why I went into a steel type on a ground type. And
okay, so this is a situation I saw happening because like I was watching it live. He planned for the exact moment where you saw how aggressive he was with rocks on Jirachi.
Yeah.
That's not that surprising because you have Volcarona, which does not like rocks.
Exactly.
You saw that he set up special defense, or that he was special defensively invested on Mudsdale so that he could take Volcarona and roar it out.
Yeah.
The idea was prevent Klefki at all. If he could prevent Klefki from defogging the rocks, you lose Volcarona.
Yeah, makes sense.
I was surprised you went in Klefki here.
No, I for sure. Like I wasn't thinking. I probably should have gone Gligar or something and just be able to chip it down. Cause Resto Chesto just one-time thing, right? If he does just rest, later on, even if he can get back his health, he's just gonna become setup fodder for my Volcarona. So.
The way I saw it playing out was I thought you were gonna go into Gligar.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the play I made last time. The first time I got roared.
I don't see him carrying anything for Gligar, and then basically situation where you either if he thinks you pack Toxic, then he's gonna have to rest up on a turn. You get a free switch into something that can actually take this on.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I was thinking Heavy Slam somewhere in my mind. That's why I went to keys thinking I can take one. But yeah, I wasn't really thinking at this point. But I already know his entire moveset at this point. Just Roar, Rest, Heavy Slam, and EQ. So, because he did go for Heavy Slam last time against my Gligar. So yeah, this is my first mistake. Let's just pretend we didn't see that. And I go into my keys, and obviously I lose my keys immediately to an EQ. There's not too much to say right there. And this time on the free switch, and I go into my Gligar and just be able to get up rocks off my own because I did lose my defogger, so may as well get up rocks myself. That was my idea there. As he roars me out once again, this time I get to drag into my Nihilego. I can't really stay in with the Nihilego against the ground type. Because I'm actually not packing the Grass Knot, which I initially did have for the Mudsdale, but like I said before, I didn't expect the Mudsdale to come. So I'm just gonna hard switch into my Gligar once again, expecting the EQ, which is his better play. He doesn't need to make prediction right there. Going for a roar, EQ is always a better play. If I go into Gligar, he can always roar me out the following turn, which is what happened after I got a Roost off. So this is another turning point of the game. I get to roar into my Spectrum, the Meloetta. So this thing is actually designed to take on the Mega Venusaur and Manaphy. So it's a lot more expandable at this point now that he doesn't have the Manaphy, and I know that my Volcarona and Gligar can handle the Mega Venusaur pretty well as well. So I'm just gonna bust out a Relic Song because it's actually the best move I can hit it with. I did tell Brendan after the game that I am actually not packing the Sidekick. I'm packing the Side Shock, simply because I want to have a mixed, just be able to hit Venusaur from both physically and specially. I do have the Psychic on Nihilego, that's why I do have the Side Shock on Meloetta. Just want to switch it up a bit. But obviously in this case, with a plus, I don't know how much defense this is. +4 or +5? Plus, yeah, 5 million defense. Muzdale. Side Shock is probably gonna do 5. That's why Relic Song was my best bet. I was hoping to put it sleep. Yeah, and it also transforms me into my what's the form called? Pirouette form. Yes. It gives me a better defense, so I can take the hits better, which I do transform right here. Sorry?
Just for reference, Side Shock would have done 12 to 14.
Yo, damage. I can always hope for a crit. It's stab.
Oh, you did get a crit on the next turn, right?
No, I didn't. You'll see. Oh, did I? I don't know. It didn't matter.
You got a crit. I think you got a crit.
Yo, so okay. In case you guys didn't watch the team builder, my movesets on this Meloetta is actually Side Shock, a Relic Song, and 2 physical attacks. One of them being Facade, the other one is Close Combat. Close Combat for the Hydreigon if it's not Scarfed and hits neutrally on the Jirachi anyways. And this set probably gets wore the hell out by Chandelure, but Chandelure is something that can get easily whittled down by rocks, and I do have a lot of other things that can check the Chandelure, mainly being the Mega Absol and the Helical, so I wasn't as worried. Facade in case I have to switch into a Scald Burn from Manaphy. So yeah, you know me and my normal types, it has to have Facade, right? So
I'm calculating right, 44 EVs and special attacks, so you can safely Side Shock on Venusaur and do more than half?
Yeah, exactly. I have a chance to 2-hit KO, and also a very high chance to 2-hit KO if he's a standard defensive pivot, and I do have rocks up. Yeah, so I can eat up Sludge Bombs from it all day with AV in regular form as well. So because the fact that I was both I guess mixed offensive, so I had to run a minus defense nature. That's why I didn't take the EQ very well, despite the fact that Pirouette form gave me so much defense after I transformed. So from that roll, I do know that I cannot live another hit. That's why I just got for another Relic Song. So I got a crit and a sleep on the same hit.
This screwed me up because I thought he clearly clicked rest this turn.
Yeah, exactly.
But Relic Song put him to sleep, and I was like,
so
I was like, does Relic Song prevent rest? Like, what is the deal?
So yeah, so Brandon, as you guys can see here over on the chat, he got a little bit confused here. He didn't realize he was put asleep by the Relic Song instead of him sleeping himself with rest. So he was wondering. He was wondering where his healings were, so it was kind of hilarious. So I brought this thing not only to check his Venusaur and his Manaphy, but also for his Serene Grace team. He has both Jirachi and Togekiss, so I was like, okay, I need to bring Serene Grace of my own to counter his Serene Grace, right? So yeah, that was pretty much my only way to deal with the Muzdale at that point. So on the following turn, I actually transformed into my regular form, which I did not know. Which is, I guess, better in that regard. I can just knock it out. The fact that I not only transform back into my regular form, I get another stab relic song, but also the fact that I got the crit the first turn. I don't know how much that crit mattered, but I just want to put it asleep. That was my main idea there. So he's.
That I think was like, this is something I think was a big deal with you bringing Psyshock instead of Psychic,
Yeah,
because
for sure.
on the last move to take out Boxer, his Mudsdale, the only move you can click is Relic Song.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't click Psyshock.
There was no.
And the important.
There's no move I
That
can go for. I had to go for a second Relic Song and banking on the Serene Grace sleep.
The important thing about that is Brendan made a really good play here, because you were forced to click Relic Song. He let Mudsdale go down, and he brought in Venusaur, who he knew, like, because your special attack switches from 128 to 77 in Pure.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can't click Psyshock on this Venusaur, so it gets free something.
Yep. So, and the fact that he knows my keys are gone, and I understand why why he went for Sludge Bomb. It hits everything left except for the Gligar, but clearly he knows that I know that he have knockoff, so I might not go into Gligar. So that's why I understand why he made the play that
Honestly,
he did.
Props to Brendan for not getting tilted, honestly, because like I would have been so upset when this.
You got a
Mudsdale,
Chris sleep.
that actually ended up, I think, mattering with Relic Song in the end, and you're not getting able to get the rest beat your team. That set beat the rest of your team unless you got like a crit with
Anything, right? Yeah.
anything really. I mean, he would have to stay asleep a few turns, and you might be able to take it out with Volcarona, but then he just switches out. Oh, actually, Volcarona dies to rock, so.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's 53.
Doesn't?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it's 54.
53
right?
or
Right,
54.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. I made
Let's
sure. I made sure it was out of range of rocks. So anyways, he does go into his Venusaur on free switching as I switch into Gligar. I got a little bit impatient here and bust out the Acrobatic before he even knocked off my Eviolite. And also, there was a chance that he outspeeds me if he speed crept a little bit, because I do naturally outspeed the Venusaur. So what I should have done is probably gone for something that probably like a roost or something, and have him knock me off first before I reveal the acrobatics. But the fact that I revealed the acrobatics beforehand, it just puts him in brings in some uncertainty, because he might not stay in knowing that I have acrobatics for him. But luckily he does stay in, probably thinking that he can take one, judging from the damage from the first hit, which he does live on 13%, and he's just gonna be able to synthesis off. He does net gain a little bit here, but the fact that I know there's only 8 PP for the synthesis, I do know that this is a game I will eventually win, especially the fact that.
Expecting, yeah.
Sorry?
I was just going to say, I remember watching and thinking, you're just going to keep clicking acrobatics and roosts and forcing him to synthesis out.
Yeah, exactly. And I know I do outspeed, so I can always get faster roost. But the other thing that actually happened in my mock is that if I do go for roost while he goes for Giga Drain, I lose my flying typing. So I have to roost on the turn that he's not attacking, knowing that he will be clicking synthesis over and over. And eventually, I think he had 2 synthesis left at this point, turn 42, and I actually got a crit on him. I don't know how much the crit mattered, but it definitely forced him to play differently. But my play was always go for acrobatics until he runs low on synthesis. But it definitely forced him to switch out a lot earlier than he needs to be, just that crit. So on turn 45, he does switch out into his Jirachi at last, knowing that there's not too much I can do back to him with my Gligar. So at this point, I'm asking myself what's my most expendable mon on my roster. So I do go into my Meloetta to be able to sack it to this Jirachi, as I believe the Venusaur will be in range of my Psychic or my Zen Headbutt coming off my Nihilego and Mega Absol respectively after he takes that Rock's damage. So I don't need to...
That's also Jirachi revealing his last move, right there.
No, he revealed it earlier against my Klefki.
That's right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's okay. It's been pretty long. It's turn 46. I was joking with my like such a frail roster. All the games this season with me is gonna be less than 30 turns.
That's fair. I don't know how long our match was, but not very long.
Not very long, indeed. Anyways, so I just got a free switching into my Volcarona because I don't have Roost, and he knows that I can't really get back any more health. I'm just gonna go for as much damage on this Jirachi as possible, and the fact that he knows that I don't have any reliable recovery, he's just gonna be able to knock me out with Iron Head, whereas normally I would wall the hell out of this Jirachi. And also one thing I want to quickly mention is Volcarona actually speed ties with Jirachi. I had literally 4 EVs in speed. He had no speed EVs, so that actually helped me out a little bit. So because in the end I was afraid that I will not be able to outspeed his Jirachi, so I might just lose my Volcarona to the Iron Head.
He had no speed, and I tried calculating this as I was watching the game.
Yeah.
You did 50% with your Volcarona set, and I assumed that you weren't like a special attack invested just because you were like Q-dancing and trying to live hits. So with 4 special attack investment on Volcarona, he was running clearly like a specially bulky Jirachi, which I thought was interesting because he ran the Culver Berry. But like he needs about, if he goes max HP, he needs like 176, 178 to take only 50 from that.
Interesting.
So he was very special. He's very specially bulky. We know he's no speed, and he's probably got some in attack.
Yeah.
But like HP and defense, so he can turn around and stuff on you. That's super interesting. That he special defense. I assume he did that to live.
No, he take Power Gems better from Nihilego.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Is he takes something from Nihilego in response?
Yeah, because he almost always switching to the Nihilego. But obviously he doesn't know that I have the foul play for his physically attacking Jirachi. And that's another thing, because Brandon's roster is so specially offensive, I think the Jirachi is most likely going to be a physical attacker, even though that he can hit from both sides. Exactly. So anyways, I'm just going to be able to switch into my Mega Absol as I do force the thing out and just be able to get a free knockoff if he wants to switch into his Mega Venusaur. That thing's going to be it's going to be 2-hit KO. Pretty much he has no switch-ins to my Mega Absol at this point, so I'm just gonna go for a knockoff. And then again, one thing I do want to mention, I actually played this game on phone in a hotel, so I had no computer available to me. I had no calcs or anything, so this is actually a very risky play now I think about it, simply because he doesn't have an item anymore. And I didn't calc this, but if he's physically bulky, obviously, he might actually live the knockoff. But like, thankfully he killed from the range he was at.
No, you would have been fine, because like, let's say he has a lot of special defense from that last hit. I know you weren't calcing, but if you were, you would have seen that.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I would have known it's especially.
And knockoff, even if he has no item, does for like if he has no defensive investment and he's like a special defense nature or something, 58 to 69 still.
Wow.
With no item. So like you were fine. Like knockoff was a clean.
Ideally, I probably could have calced the initial foul play damage when he first time switched into my Nihilego, and I will know that he has some physical attack investment, or at least he's physically offensive. So.
Just for reference, even if he was impish, max special or max defense, max HP, knockoff does 42 to 50 without.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know.
So knockoff is the
Yeah,
safest
okay,
pick.
that's good. Yeah, because then again, I didn't have calcs available to me, but yeah, thankfully the knockoff was enough to knock him out. And the another play he could have made was to be able to stack his Lycanroc Day, and I guess he wants to potentially get rid of the rocks now that my my Volcarona is gone, and then be able to bring in his Lycanroc Day at a later point, as he does have that priority for my Nihilego. So over here, he's actually gonna go into his Hydreigon and he's free switching. So in the pregame, or I guess in my builder, I mentioned the fact that Hydreigon is a maybe bring against me, simply because if he brings it as a Scarfer, it doesn't outspeed my offenses, mainly being potential Scarf superior, Volcarona at +1, Nihilego as with a choice Scarf, stuff along the line. But it's still a very good pivot, simply because U-turn checks Mega Absol, and the fact that he actually took very long to go into his Hydreigon, it actually makes me think that he's trying to bluff the Scarf, because he doesn't really have a switch into Mega Absol anymore. But even though he is yeah, so I think that was my thought process right here. So that's why if he's not Scarf, I didn't want to risk him not basically I didn't want to risk him not being Scarfed and I outplay myself, you know what I'm saying? I switched into something else to take the hit and gives him momentum as well.
So the interesting thing here is you like, yeah, if anything he's bluffing, but I think it's almost guaranteed that he's Scarf, because I don't think he would trust the bluff, especially after waiting too long. I don't think he would trust the bluff enough, to know that you don't have Play Rough. More ups.
Well, I might not have Play Rough,
obviously
actually.
blows him back.
No, Play Rough is pretty much only for Hydreigon, because I could easily have Ice Beam, because that covers both the Togekiss and Hydreigon, which is technically a better move. But
I assumed while watching this, I assumed that he was either going for superpower or a strong special move to take you out, and that he definitely had Scarf, because I don't see him bluffing this, knowing that you have a quad effective move and your base faster.
No, but like, if he doesn't have the Scarf, what does he switch into then? This is pretty much the only thing that he can switch into safely to take a hit. Because Togekiss is going to be taking additional rock damage when he comes in. And if you have, you know, Iron Tail or like Ice Beam or something, he might not take it very well, right? So
we assumed that he was a defensive Togekiss, and he's sitting at... Can I see... He's sitting at 98 with Togekiss. Like, he could take some moves.
yeah, but he's going to be taking 25% from rocks.
Your strongest move against him is Play Rough, unless you have Iron Tail, which I guess he might think you do.
Yeah, I don't have it, but like I can have it.
Old and like pretty bulky defensively, Iron Tail still only does 52 to 62, so he would take rocks and beat you.
Beat me with what?
So like,
He's not gonna have fairy coverage for me. Like, if he's defensive Togekiss, he's not gonna run both Air Slash and Dazzling Gleam.
right?
Right.
That's a good point.
Like, he's probably gonna have
Air
Roost
Slash-
or Thunder Wave or Heal Bell, right? And obviously Thunder Wave doesn't...
52 to 61, so he could have clicked Air Slash and at least gotten some damage, and then Excel Rock would have taken out the Absol, or at least forced it out into rocks.
No, he will have to... First of all, he has Roost and Defog and Air Slash. I don't know what his last move is. He will have to get a Defog off on me to have the Lycanroc not get killed by rocks.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly. So there's no way he can get both damage off and be able to defog away. That's what I'm saying. So he's best switching with the Hydreigon regardless of it being scarfed or not. So that was my idea.
So, yep. No, that's good. That's good. That's good reasoning.
Yeah. So again, I already explained my thought process of me. I don't want to, play myself out in case he's not scarf, right? So I actually stayed in with my Mega Absol because I don't really have a switch in, and he actually went for the Draco because I know I take the Dark Pulse as well. The only move he can knock me out from that range would be a Draco if he is scarfed normally. I guess I guess he can also go for a U-turn, but that's just more rock damage. And I guess yeah. Anyways, so I'm just gonna go into my Nihilego on this Hydreigon, knowing that he gone for Draco, and to this point he doesn't know that I am not scarfed. I've been bluffing the scarf so hard, so that's basically the exact scenario I want right here. So this is pretty much game over to me. So I thought I had it at this point, right? So I know he's scarfed, his Draco is not going to be able to knock me out, and I can very easily go for a Dazzling Gleam and just outspeed everything on his team left and just be able to knock him out. Knock them out because I literally have coverage for everything, and I also bluff the scarf to this point so that even if he switch into something else, I can just follow it up with super effective coverage. But the fact that he saved his Lycanroc base so well and allowed him to get a free switch in here really messed me up. If he didn't have the Lycanroc base stack over here, I pretty much had the game. But obviously, you guys will see a little bit later. To this extent, I still think I had the game. And after he sacked the Lycanroc Day, knowing that I was quote-unquote locked into Power Jam, he switched into his Venusaur, which is the exact scenario I wanted. With bluffing this entire time, I actually gone for Expert Bell boosted Psychic, and just be able to knock out Mega Venusaur. I'm pretty sure I needed the Expert Bell and the Rocks damage to be able to knock out, I guess, a standard defensive pivot Mega Venusaur from this range. If he goes into Hydreigon right there, he actually will be able to probably claim a 3-0 in the end. But he actually gave me another KO here with Mega Venusaur. But he also played it safe because he was trying to scout out for the Scarf. So he's just gonna go into his Hydreigon after I knock out the Mega Venusaur. I was like, well, you just gave me a +1. It's pretty much GG at this point. Unless you're gonna flinch me with Dark Pose, right? I'm pretty sure I live a Draco. I'm a Nihilego with like 130 special defense or something. And then no, he busts out a freaking Earthquake.
Okay. That's great. That is just great practice.
Yeah, I was literally applauding to Brandon at this point. So it's pretty much gonna be GG at this point. He's just gonna be able to knock out my Nihilego with his EQ coming off the Hydreigon, and just be able to switch, preserve his Hydreigon, knowing that he can't really touch my Gligar, and going to his Togekiss, and I just spammed a couple acrobatics because there's literally nothing I can do back to him. I PM'd him, just stop trying to just put a misery to the end of this battle, just end me. He was actually dancing around, just going for Roost and Defog and all that, when he could have simply go for Air Slashes and just be able to knock me out. Yeah, so it's just gonna be a 2-0 here in the end. Definitely a great game to Brandon.
I have a quick question, just for the fun of it.
Yep.
If you predicted that Earthquake and went into Gligar, is there a way you win?
Let me think about it. I actually asked that question myself. First of all, there's no way I predict the Earthquake, but quote unquote the safer play. Yeah, there's just no way. Even if I know he has Earthquake at an earlier stage, but there's no way for me to get a +1 up anymore. I have to somehow force the Togekiss not to defog and be able to get enough chip on it so that it's in range of a Power Gem to be able to get off the +1 that way and be able to knock out the Hydreigon the following turn. But even then, if he has that Hydreigon at the back, there's no way. Like, he's just gonna be able to outspeed me and lock himself into Earthquake. So I have to save my Gligar for that Hydreigon specifically.
And all he has to do is switch in Hydreigon on a predicted like power gem, and if he can eat it,
he should definitely eat it.
Stuff.
No, but like he at that point I probably just go for repeated dazzling gleams. So he can't really afford to make that prediction, but because he hits Togekiss neutrally as well.
Well, it comes down to a situation where he switches into Togekiss, you switch into Nihilego, and maybe you click like, I don't know if you have, I assume you have like Sludge Wave or something. You don't. So you click Power Gem. Out. Like.
The only way for me to win in the end, if he has the Earthquake or I decide to scout out by going into my Gligar, is that I still need to have my Gligar alive when I beat his Togekiss.
He has to make it so that when he switches back into Hydreigon, maybe to take a Power Gem from Nihilego or something,
exactly.
He has to decide whether he hits Earthquake again, whether he just clicks like Dragon, what is it?
Draco or EQ,
Yeah, so mind games, but because Togekiss can get rid of the rocks, like eventually it just comes down to some 50-50s, and I think that he wins that if he doesn't take chances.
Well, the thing is, my Gligar actually beats Hydreigon 1v1, unless he Dark Pulse flinches me to death. I know I lost my Eviolite, but I can.
Yeah, that's true.
He can't lock into EQ against me. He can lock into Draco against me because I eat one, and if he get rid of the rocks for me, I mean, I'll eat one, and then I'll be able to roost off the damage. So
no, that's a good point. It definitely does 1v1 Hydreigon unless he had some sort of tech for it, which
I don't see it if he already has the Earthquake. But yeah, definitely a good game to Brandon. He's definitely one of the, in my opinion, one of the best battlers in the league. It was a pleasure to play him. The only thing is that I wish both me and him had a little bit more time to prep to put up a better show this week. But in the end, it was a pretty good game after all.
That bulky Mudsdale and the hidden tech on Hydreigon was a good game.
Yeah, exactly. And I had that Meloetta with a Relic Song and the acrobatic on the Gligar. We tried to put up a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I thought it was a great battle. I thought you guys both played really well, especially despite the fact that you weren't able to do any calcs. Like, you clearly knew your team well enough to play around.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope you guys. Sorry, this is almost it's a video that's almost an hour. And thank you for joining me, Pallukie, and thank you guys for watching. You're not gonna have a sign off.
I don't need to. I don't sign off. I just say peace. That's all I ever say.
All right, I guess I'll take us out. This is gonna be Admin Crow here, signing off. See you guys next time. Goodbye, technicians.